Good morning, all. Suburban Sentinel here, coming to you once again from very deep inside the Arabian Peninsula. And I've been following the news from back home real carefully. Of course, not the fake news, the real news. I watch a little bit of the fake news just to get an idea of what the delusional people in our country and the corporations are thinking and pushing. But unfortunately, what I see or foresee in America is a protracted period of civil unrest. One of the primary drivers toward this march towards wide-scale civil unrest is the leftist dogma or narrative. For example, all white people are evil. Leftists have an absolute right to never be offended by what other people say or do. People who disagree with leftists are all Nazis. And as a corollary, it is okay for leftists to physically attack those people who do not agree with them. And in my final example, and I think this is one of the most prevalent at this time, is that pornography and vulgarity constitute culture, specifically Western culture. Another factor driving us towards civil unrest is that those on the far left of the political spectrum live in an alternate reality. They believe that men and women are exactly the same, and that gender is more of a choice. Gender is fluid. You can switch from one to the other or go to something in between at will. The far left also believes that people in all cultures are always compatible. All cultures can successfully integrate easily because we all are the same and have the same values. Also, those on the far left believe in open borders. Borders are not necessary to maintain a national identity or for our mutual security. And finally, and probably most importantly, those on the far left somehow believe that government can never be big enough, government money is always unlimited, and welfare is a very good thing. For more than 50 years, the leftists have essentially had the upper hand in the political argument and in the social results. However, times they are a-changing. Our country and many other Western nations are starting to wake up to the delusions of the far left. We have Trump, we have Brexit, and Marine Le Pen, and the potential breakup of the EU. All of this is a clear indicator that we are moving back to a Western society of common sense. And of course, the extreme left hates this. They do not accept it, they will not tolerate it, and they will fight against it. And since they lost the political argument, they are resorting to violence, as we have seen in the Trump protests, which are actually riots in places like Cal Berkeley. The leftists are not going to give up. And since they've lost the political argument, it's going to be a whole series of riots, property destruction, and probably violence against innocent people. My guess is that civilized people in the West will put up with leftist violence for a while. we'll see more of the rioting and the property destruction and people getting injured, hopefully not killed. But at some time in the future, we will reach a tipping point where civilized society has had enough and start to push back using violent force. And whether that force comes from the police or from armed citizens in America or both, I believe that the bullets are going to start flying at some point in time in the not too distant future. In conclusion, I do believe we are headed down this very dangerous road towards either widespread civil unrest or perhaps even civil war. I don't see our path changing in any way through any political or peaceful means. Violence, of course, should be our last resort in any situation, and violence for any reason is horrendous. Further, I can think of nothing worse than having to take up arms against one's own countrymen. It's practically unthinkable to me, but I do believe we are headed there. What's the point of all this? I guess it's sad, but I feel compelled to say that keep your rifles ready and become mentally prepared for doing that which is nearly unthinkable.